Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. I need to change this here because today we are talking about what's gone on with the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and we're taking a look at the Ripple case as well. We've seen some big changes in the cryptocurrency space within the last 24 hours, and we need to talk about that today because we've seen Bitcoin shoot up incredibly high. In fact, let's refresh the screen right now. Bitcoin is trading at $29,990. It's very nice to see us up at these levels, and it's nice to see that it's not off the back of some fake news. We did get to $30,000 earlier this week on Monday when Cointelegraph falsely reported that a spot Bitcoin ETF had been accepted. So it's nice to see us coming up to these prices without that fake news there as well. But really positive things happening in the space right now, and I want to be talking about why we are seeing $30,000 Bitcoin here. So let's get straight into today's news. First of all, we need to talk about these spot Bitcoin ETFs. Please don't forget for today's stream to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We are also streaming right now to TikTok for the first time ever. So if you don't already follow us on there, make sure to give us a follow on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every platform that we are on. We are trying to build a big community, so make sure to join in if you have not already. Right, the first news of the day is about the Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF. So let's recap this from the very beginning. First of all, Grayscale filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF and it was rejected by the SEC, the regulators in the US. Grayscale then appealed this rejection from the SEC and the SEC lost. The regulators lost that lawsuit. Grayscale won, and it was deemed in court that Grayscale's ETF application should not have been rejected. Now that was a massive, massive win for the cryptocurrency space, and we did see since that lawsuit ended, we've now had 45 days pass. And that 45-day period was crucial because that was the period in which the SEC could appeal the lawsuit and try and, again, fight that battle. So the SEC didn't appeal that lawsuit. We saw the Grayscale ETF win in court be set in stone. Now, what happens is the SEC have 45 days to appeal that lawsuit. And then there's a 7-day period where the courts determine what Grayscale's next steps are. So following that lawsuit, there's a few options of what could happen here. First of all, there is that Grayscale have to reapply for a new spot Bitcoin ETF. It could be that Grayscale's ETF automatically gets transferred into an ETF. Their GBTC trust gets transferred into an ETF. Or it could be that the SEC find a new reason as to why a spot Bitcoin ETF should not be happening. So that's really important there, and we need to be discussing that. Now, the 7-day period for the courts to determine Grayscale's next steps ends today at midnight. Now, there is discussion here that it could actually be announced on Monday because of that late deadline. So between today and Monday, we could see some big changes for the cryptocurrency space. Now, we're seeing Bitcoin here. Let's refresh this page once again. Bitcoin is currently trading at $30,082, up 5.73% within the last 24 hours. It is so nice to see this price action. And we are seeing changes in the crypto space in terms of the spot Bitcoin ETF. So hopefully big things are to come. Either today or on Monday, we are going to hear the next steps for Grayscale. There are a couple options that can happen here. So let's run through those in this article. It states the couple of options. So that deadline is arriving on Friday, and there are a couple of possibilities for what the court does next. First of all, it could terminate the case without comment. And that would just mean, yep, Grayscale won that lawsuit. Now you need to sort it out yourselves. You need to either apply for a new ETF and the SEC can't use the old reasoning as to why they would reject it, or they could give further direction to the SEC on what happens next. What are the next steps for these spot Bitcoin ETFs? So hopefully we have the latter. What we don't really want to be seeing here is the court saying, yeah, Grayscale won, but do you know what? Deal with it amongst yourselves. What we want to be seeing here is the court say, Grayscale won, the SEC, you need to do X, Y, and Z. We would like to see some next steps being pushed here to see the spot Bitcoin ETFs be pushed over the line much faster. Now, I know a lot of us that are watching today's stream and a lot of us within the cryptocurrency space all do believe, the majority of us do believe that a spot Bitcoin ETF is around the corner, and it's a matter of when, not if. So seeing the courts actually do something about this and give the SEC some next steps could really bring that deadline forward and bring that spot Bitcoin ETF forward. And that is what we all want to see at the end of the day. What we did see earlier this week is if we see a spot Bitcoin ETF and all of these companies that have filed for spot Bitcoin ETFs put 1% of their funds into Bitcoin, it could push the price of Bitcoin up to around $50,000 to $73,000. That would be huge. And then you've got all the retail investors buying off the back of that news, a huge amount of FOMO swooping into the markets. Things would drastically change, and things are getting very, very exciting here in the cryptocurrency space. As we've been on these live streams every single day throughout this bear market, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Jason says in the chat, can you take a look at the CME gap during the analysis at the end of the stream? Yes, absolutely. If I forget, do remind me, but we will be analyzing the price of Bitcoin at the end of today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Things are getting good in crypto again, and we've said this for a while now. We've been on these live streams every single day. But 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever I was on these live streams with Jordan, that martini guy, we were sitting around this price here, and we were both sitting there and saying things have started to feel different. During this period of time, this move to the upside and this sideways action, things felt the same, but at this point here, things started to feel different, and that volatility started to increase, and we've started to see some nice movements to the upside here, and hopefully that continues. Let's see what is going on here. James says, tell Jordan to pay for a better internet connection. Is my internet a problem today? Hopefully not. We are streaming to YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and we are looking to stream to more platforms, but not if we keep having internet problems, because the more platforms we stream to, the worse it's gonna get. Hopefully everything is okay today. Let's take a look anyway. What's going on with the spot Bitcoin ETFs? Let's continue with this story. Big changes coming in the cryptocurrency space. As I've already stated, spot Bitcoin ETF has a bigger effect than I believe the majority of us even realize. I think it could be a game changer for the cryptocurrency space. It means that anybody with access to traditional stocks, anybody with a pension, can just allocate a small percentage of their portfolio to cryptocurrency. We see in the bull market a huge amount of FOMO, a huge amount of people wishing they had that little bit of exposure to the cryptocurrency space. And if we get a spot Bitcoin ETF, that makes it so much easier for us to get that adoption. Usually in a bull market, people say, oh, I wish I bought Bitcoin. I wanted to get into Bitcoin, but they don't think they have the ability to do that. They don't have the ability to spend the time to sign up to the centralized exchange, learn about self-custody, learn what cryptocurrencies to buy. But with a spot Bitcoin ETF, it becomes so much easier. They just ring up their financial advisor and say, look, can I allocate some of my portfolio to Bitcoin? And it's that simple. They can invest into it so simply. And the other thing to note here is if we get a spot Bitcoin ETF from multiple companies, they market those ETFs in a way that they market any other of their products, and they're in a competition there that we'll see a first mover advantage if they don't all get launched simultaneously, and then following that we'll see some marketing there trying to push their ETF to be the leading spot Bitcoin ETF, and there we see marketing for Bitcoin. It's a win-win scenario here. I know a lot of people are feeling a little bit negative about them because it's not really what we came into cryptocurrency for. We came into cryptocurrency to step away from the traditional banking system, and now they're getting their foot in the door and getting heavily involved. But I think this could be really, really positive for the price of Bitcoin, and we could see some drastic changes for the industry. I think it's a little bit naive to think that the industry could continue to grow without the bigger players getting involved. And this cycle is the one where we are going to see these companies getting involved. Next cycle could be even bigger than that. I am very, very excited about what's coming here in the cryptocurrency space. If you are too, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's run through this story and see what else is going on here. So I've done a lot of waffling this morning. Let's get on to the serious cryptocurrency news here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. We're already on 13 likes. That's way above usual. So please make sure to continue to like that button and see how high we can get. Jason Smith said, but an ETF is a positive move to help drive adoption. Yes, it definitely is. Losing that barrier to entry, losing that step of difficulty of getting people into the space will just make it so much easier. A lot of people I know say, oh, I wanted to buy Bitcoin, but I didn't know how. This just makes it that little bit easier. Anybody can get involved. It's a massive, massive change for the space. Hopefully we do see a spot Bitcoin ETF very, very soon. I know a lot of people are speculating that we will see one before January. We have a deadline for the SEC, January the 15th. And let's go into a lot of detail about this. We've got a lot of time. Let's just slow down and go through this slowly. Because I'm speaking through this very, very quickly. First of all, let's go back to the start. Lord Spud says in the chat, join CSE Plus. Yes, please do sign up to CSE Plus. Go to cryptosavingexpert.com, press that join CSE Plus button and get involved in the cryptocurrency community that we're building here. You get access to our cryptocurrency Discord, our community Discord, which is very good. And we all like to have little chats in there and discuss alpha that you can't get anywhere else. Let's take a look though. Let's start from the beginning. I've done a lot of waffle now. Let's take a look at what's going on in the crypto news. Let's start this from scratch. First of all, we are talking about the Grayscale ETF case. This is a game changer for the cryptocurrency industry. What we are seeing here could change how people get into the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin spot ETFs can massively drive adoption and could even push the price of Bitcoin to 50,000 to 72,000 Bitcoin was predicted last week. It could be game changing. Now we are at the deadline day. Friday, the 20th of October is the date in which the courts could determine what's the next steps for Grayscale. Grayscale won their lawsuit and now either today or on Monday we are going to hear back from the courts. Either they are going to stay quiet and just set it in stone that Grayscale won that lawsuit, or they are going to advise on the next steps for these spot Bitcoin ETFs. That latter one, as I said, is exactly what we want to see, because that could massively bring forward the date in which we do see one of these things on the markets. I personally do believe it's a matter of when, not if, so hopefully we do see one of these products being pushed through the door and getting out to us very, very soon. Now let's take a look at the next article here. Grayscale has filed for a new spot Bitcoin ETF document and seeks the green light for launch. So what's happened here is Grayscale already have what's called a S3. They already have an S. Wait, let's get this right. Which is more condensed version of the S1? So they already have an S1. So the asset manager could file the S3 because its shares were registered under the Securities Act of 1934 in January 2020. Now they filed an S3, which is a condensed version of the S1. So they are seeking to convert their Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin ETF. We all already know that now, but Grayscale are making steps here, making applications here, just getting ever so closer. They've won that lawsuit against the SEC. They're giving the SEC every single document that they need to hopefully be the first to get through that door and launch that spot Bitcoin ETF. What we can see here is we know if we see one spot Bitcoin ETF get launched first, there could be a massive first mover advantage. Now, Grayscale have got all of their documents ready to go. They've won that lawsuit and they're just getting closer and closer to that point in which their ETF could actually launch and trying to provide the SEC with no reason not to accept it. So big moves here from Grayscale. It's positive to see these big pushes in the right direction. Let's see what's going on in the chat quickly. More people from Australia. A lot of people tuning in from Australia recently. Bruce says, can't wait to receive the cap and other goodies I ordered on the CSE store. We will take a look at the CSE store in a second. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button. Bruce, thank you so much for supporting us at Crypto Saving Expert. We very much appreciate that. And I hope you enjoy all of the merch that you have bought. Let's take a look at this article in a little bit more detail. The SEC did not appeal Grayscale's win. We've already discussed that. So let's move on to what's happening here in terms of the Grayscale GBTC shares. So what's happened here is GBTC has been a stock for a very long time. Basically, it's just a company that holds a huge amount of Bitcoin. They've been trying to transfer that GBTC into a spot Bitcoin ETF, but the SEC have kept rejecting it. Now that left a massive opportunity for those that were interested in investing in GBTC. Because let's say GBTC held 1,000 Bitcoin, well, the valuation of that stock was sometimes at over approximately 46% low. So the year began where GBTC stock, let's say it held 1,000 Bitcoin, it was trading at 540 Bitcoins value price. So what you could see there is a 46% discrepancy between the amount of Bitcoin that GBTC held and the actual share value of the company. Now, what happens if that company, GBTC, transfers into a spot Bitcoin ETF? Well, that gap immediately closes, and those investors that bought in at that 46% discrepancy immediately make that extra, they make that difference. So that was a huge opportunity in the cryptocurrency space. Obviously, as things are getting a little bit closer and it's looking more and more likely that we are going to see a spot Bitcoin ETF and that we are going to see GBTC be transferred into a spot Bitcoin ETF, that discrepancy has got much, much smaller. It's continuing to shrink. So you can see here the anticipation that Grayscale could be the closest application to getting the approval needed for the SEC. The discount on GBTC shares are approaching zero. So we are also seeing that almost seeing that become 1-for-1, where we are seeing the amount of Bitcoin that GBTC holds is equal to the share price of the GBTC. So it's nice to see that discrepancy is closed. A lot of people that believed in the spot Bitcoin ETFs maybe 6 months ago are now seeing the value of their stocks be obviously increased massively. And it's really nice to see that. So big changes coming here, and you can see from the share price of GBTC the amount of confidence in the markets that we will see a spot Bitcoin ETF soon. So very nice to see that today. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button if you have just joined. We are currently on 18 likes. That is so many more than usual. The price of Bitcoin is currently at 29,873. We have got and touched that $30,000 level today, but we're just seeing a little bit of fluctuation around that point. Today is a crucial day for those spot Bitcoin ETFs. Hopefully the courts give the SEC some demands on what their next steps are for these spot Bitcoin ETFs, and they don't just sit quiet, but things are heating up and things are getting very, very exciting. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, Crypto Rover is in the chat. Hello, Crypto Rover. Thank you very much for tuning in. What else have we got here in the chat today? People are asking about XRP. Right, we are going to move on to the XRP story. In fact, let's move on to the XRP story now. Things are heating up for Ripple. Let's take a look at the price of XRP right now. Trading up 7.24% in the last 24 hours, up to 51 cents. That is incredibly nice to see. If we take a look at this, you can see the price of XRP shot up yesterday. Now, let's take a look. I'll tell you what's happened with my XRP holdings. I invested in XRP a very, very long time ago. It was during the lawsuit, and XRP did absolutely nothing during the time that I invested into it. And I held on to that XRP for months and months and months, and I got sick of holding on to it because my opinion was this lawsuit's going to take a while. It could take years and years and years, and my capital is better somewhere else. I could make more money using that capital elsewhere. So I decided to sell my XRP. The next day, it did a 3x. I think it must have been around this point here where you can see it was in this low slot going lower and lower and lower. I invested in it. It was just kind of moving sideways. I sold, and then it moved to the upside. And then from that day, I was very, very bitter about buying XRP again. We've seen some big fluctuations in the price here, and I know a lot of people accumulated XRP throughout that lawsuit, hoping for a big win on the other side. We have seen a court win for XRP and Ripple. We've not seen an absolute lawsuit win, but we have seen a win. We saw a nice move to the upside, but I still don't think that those people that have accumulated XRP during that lawsuit have got what they deserved. They deserved a bigger pump than that, and they deserve that pump to hold. So hopefully when the lawsuit does finish, hopefully we see XRP and Ripple win, and then hopefully those investors get a little bit more of a pump there. We were expecting a lot more excitement. I was expecting this pump to hold for a little bit longer, but here we are. Let's take a look at what's going on with XRP within the last couple of hours, within the last 24 hours. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single weekday. We have done since the 7th of December 2022, and we have not missed a single day trying to keep this bear market active. A lot of people have lost interest in cryptocurrency, so we're still trying to make it fun through this period of time, and hopefully when the markets do turn around, we see some nice growth here on the channel and we see our community grow as well. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Kiwi says, down and under, loves Bitcoin, tap, and Jasmine. Dan, there's a lot of viewers from Australia within the last couple of days. We've got the Humbled one from Australia there as well. Who else have we got here? Jason Smith from Australia tuning in every single day. We all appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's take a look at what's actually happened to Ripple here, because we've not actually discussed that part yet. Ripple executives cleared of SEC charges. So the Ripple CEO and executive chairman were cleared of charges on Thursday. So on Thursday, it was announced that the Ripple CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, and the executive chairman have been cleared of all the charges against them brought by the US SEC. So we can see here, there was, in response to dropping of the charges, the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, wrote, "Today was an even better day. Ripple 3, SEC 0. So what he has said is, in all seriousness, Chris and I, in a case involving no claims of fraud or misrepresentations, were targeted by the SEC in a ruthless attempt to personally ruin us and the company so many have worked hard to build for over a decade." So what we've seen here is him discuss what's happened with SBF. Right, what's happened here is, the SEC is a regulator that many of us in crypto don't like, but they're a regulator that is put in place to protect investors. Now, what we've seen in the last year is the SEC did a poor job of protecting investors when it came to FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. They were personally meeting up with SBF, and you can see in this quote from the CEO, the SEC repeatedly kept its eye off the ball while secretly meeting with the likes of SBF, failing again and again to protect US customers and businesses. So you can see here the CEO is saying, the SEC weren't doing their job correctly when FTX happened. They should have been protecting investors against SBF and FTX, a company they were very familiar with and a man they were very familiar with. They were meeting up with SBF while SBF was doing all of these incorrect things behind closed doors. And then following that, the cryptocurrency space has taken an absolute beating from the SEC while they try and show that they do have their eyes on the ball and they are looking closely at the cryptocurrency space. But they're just doing it wrong. They should have noticed FTX. They don't need to target the whole cryptocurrency space to make up for that. This is what basically the Brad Garlinghouse has concluded from this. Very happy to see a win here for them, and hopefully we do see some more positive news when it comes to Ripple and XRP. People are asking for price predictions for XRP in the chat. We don't do price predictions here on this channel. We just stick to the facts, the cryptocurrency news. I'm sure you're all aware the regulation in the UK has become very, very strict. I don't think the FCA would like me if I came here and told you my price prediction for XRP right now. So unfortunately we can't provide that. Nothing is financial advice. I can give you all of those caveats. I can't give you a price prediction for XRP today. Personally, not a token I hold anymore. As I just said, I have previously invested in it. I got very bitter about it. I do have positive expectations for XRP, but as I've said many times here on the channel now, my personal portfolio, which should not be a reflection of what you do with your own, has majority Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. I can talk about it all day. Altcoins are brilliant, but I like to look at the price of altcoins compared to Bitcoin and predict how that's going to perform over the next couple of months. And I think Bitcoin has a really exciting amount of opportunities coming its way, and maybe, yes, I will be diversifying into altcoins at a later date at that Bitcoin halving, but right now my focus is on Bitcoin. All of the main news that's really important to me is about Bitcoin. Yes, there are some sectors in the cryptocurrency space, in the altcoin space, that do pop off from time to time. We've seen that meme coin phrase. We're now seeing some excitement around Ripple, and yes, maybe I'll trade these and try and get some quick wins, but my main portfolio, I'm focusing on Bitcoin. I'm expecting some positive news to come with these spot Bitcoin ETFs. Maybe it won't, but that's what I'm expecting, and that's what I've put my portfolio centered around. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space today, though. Let's move on. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single day, so make sure to tune in and see what's going on here in the space. We are streaming to TikTok for the first time ever here today as well, so make sure to head over to TikTok, give us a like, follow, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space. So Base open sources contracts and front end. Base has opened up in contracts and scripts to increase transparency. One of Base's core values is building in the open. We believe this is foundational to building an on-chain ecosystem because it creates accountability and enables collaboration, according to Base. So Base is the layer 2 built on Ethereum from the centralized exchange Coinbase. They are looking to increase transparency. They have $1 million worth of bounty payouts. We've got lots of different stuff going on that network. I will drop the link to that. In fact, I can't drop the link to that in the chat. I've got so much going on my screens right now. I can't share the link to you for that with you. But if you do want to read that, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. Go on the news tab and check out all of the latest cryptocurrency news. We won't give you false information like Cointelegraph. We won't falsely report that spot Bitcoin ETFs have been accepted when they haven't yet, but we will accurately report it one day when it does become true. Let's take a look at what's going on here in the chat. The Humbled One says price at the moment is being heavily manipulated. Keep stacking sacks, guys. What else have we got here? Jason Smith said, just at the historical trend from October and due in for a hell of a ride. Things are looking exciting. Things are really heating up here. We will take a look at that actually. Let me pull that up in a second. Let's go for Bitcoin historical quarterly earnings. Let's do earnings, and it should be, I think it's CoinGlass. Here we go. This is the one I like to look at. So we can see here monthly returns for Bitcoin. Quickly taking a look at this, you can see Bitcoin does well in October. You cannot deny that in terms of history. We've got a green column there for October. It cannot be clearer. Specifically, the Octobers that aren't in a bear market do obviously much better. You can see November. Again, it does all right. If we take a look at the quarterly returns, you can see Q4 is typically really, really bullish for Bitcoin. Now, we've got the prospect of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We've got those companies preparing to get those products out the door as soon as legally possible. And I think that could change the space, could massively increase the price of Bitcoin. And I don't think we're going to ruin that pattern of seeing a positive Q4. But we'll have to stay tuned on that. We will keep you up to date here on the channel. There is still the possibility. I would like to point out that spot Bitcoin ETFs do get declined and rejected, and the SEC find reasoning as to why those products should not exist. I just don't think that reasoning could last forever, and I do think eventually we will see a spot Bitcoin ETF. And it's a matter of when, not if. Let's take a look at this. The Humbled One says Bitcoin needs to flip resistance. We will take a look at the price of Bitcoin in just a second, so make sure to stay tuned. First of all, we are taking a look at this latest news here. Binance seals new payment partners in the EU. So Binance has signed agreement with payment partners for the EU. We are seeing changes for Binance. They have stopped USD withdrawals. They have said they will no longer sign up users from the UK as of Monday, and we are now seeing them partnering with partners in the EU. So massive changes happening in Binance right now. So we will stay up to date with that. What else have we got on here? Here are signs that the crypto winter may be in the past, according to Morgan Stanley. So let's take a look at this. What's going on here? So Morgan Stanley Wealth Management have said the asset management division of the American multinational financial services, they've said the current market indicators may be signs that the crypto winter is in the past and spring is around the corner. Now, we obviously have the Bitcoin halving coming up. I don't think I need to explain this to many of you. Bitcoin halving is when the block reward for Bitcoin halves. Now, historically, a Bitcoin halving has caused a bull market. We've seen a correlation between when the halving is and when the price of Bitcoin starts to move to the upside. The next Bitcoin halving is predicted to be in April 2024. Now, when that comes, if history repeats itself, we could be seeing some really positive price action for Bitcoin. Something we've all been preparing for a long time. A lot of us have understood that Bitcoin moves in 4-year cycles. You hear about Bitcoin and then you don't hear about it again for another couple of years. And then you hear about it again, you have FOMO, and then you don't hear about it again for a couple of years. A lot of people have been in that cycle without even realizing. But what's happening there is Bitcoin has just been in its 4-year cycles. We see a bull market, we see a bear market, we see a bull market, we see a bear market. Now, we've been in a bear market since November 2021, or even May 2021 if you don't count that second high. And it is about time now where where the tide is starting to change, and if history repeats itself and we continue in these 4-year cycles, things are starting to look up, and we could be in time for a nice bull market coming. And we also have those spot Bitcoin ETFs that I will not stop banging on about. They could be coming in. The SEC have until March to either reject or accept the spot Bitcoin ETFs from massive companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, and VanEck. And when that happens, if they get accepted just before that Bitcoin halving, that's another catalyst to add to the list. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin here anyway and see what's going on. Again, approaching that $30,000 level on the Binance chart there. Crypto Saving Expert is saying 29,885. I almost said the competitor's name there. That would not have gotten down well. What else have we got here? Bitcoin is up at $29,960 from Bitcoin USDT Binance chart here. It will differ slightly on the different centralized exchanges, but Bitcoin's price is looking very, very good. And as I've been saying here on the channel this whole time, we are still in an uptrend on the daily chart. We've had higher lows and we're getting higher highs. Now, I've been saying this repeatedly. A lot of people didn't like it because this low is very, very close to that low, but we are still in a daily uptrend. Now, if we manage to break this level of resistance here, this highest price that we saw on this one at $31,800, that daily uptrend still holds. And I know it sounds crazy because this one didn't really feel like an uptrend, and right now it doesn't feel like we're in an uptrend because we've seen so much sideways action. But if you look at the charts, we're seeing higher highs, we're seeing higher lows, and things are still looking interesting and things are starting to heat up. So don't just discredit that things have got boring, so we mustn't be in an uptrend. The charts suggest we're in an uptrend, so we're in an uptrend. Let's see what's going on here. Jason Smith says, let's take a look at the CME chart. So that is exactly what we are going to do. Let's go to CME. So we need to type in BTC. In fact, give me a second. Let me get this all off the chart. So what can we see right now? We're on the price of Bitcoin. Here we go. So we need to go BTC, $1! And then you can see what's going on with the CME chart. So let's explain the CME chart quickly for those that don't know what this is. This is the chart from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Now, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is an exchange that is operational Monday to Friday. When it closes on the Friday, the chart just stops. It just pauses. It just freezes where it was. And then what happens is on Monday, when the CME opens again, the chart just starts from wherever the price of Bitcoin is. And this leaves us with gaps in the market that you can quite clearly see just appear in between the bars. Now, these gaps are called CME gaps, and they act like magnets for the price of Bitcoin. So what happens is this gap is considered to be unfilled until the price of Bitcoin goes between that range, and then it's called a filled CME gap. So what we've got here is we have a few CME gaps to be aware of. Let's go onto the daily chart here. We have a CME gap back from in March this year, and that is at $20,400, because what you can see here is we saw a gap this weekend, and then we haven't filled that gap. We've not seen price action within that range since that gap was created, so that is acting like a magnet for the price of Bitcoin. We've got some gaps here. For example, we've got one here that have been filled. We've seen price action between that price range since the gap was created, so that's no longer acting like a magnet for the Bitcoin price. Now, yes, we have that bearish magnet down at $20,360, but we also have some bullish magnets as well. We've got this one up here from back in May 2022, and that is at $35,240. That's acting like a magnet for the Bitcoin price right now, and we're much closer to that one than we are to $20,300. So things are looking exciting in terms of the CME chart. We will discuss this on Monday as well, because obviously it's Friday today. The weekend's about to arrive. The CME is about to close, so we need to prepare for that. What I really like to see on a Friday, in best case scenario, if we see a nice move to the upside on the Friday, and then maybe we do see some sideways action or even a slight move to the downside over the weekend, we've got that CME gap that can pull us back up to the upside. What we do not want to see is a solid move to the upside when the CME is closed, because that means we're creating a huge gap below us that we may need to fill in the following week, and may be a reason as to why we need to see some downwards action the following week. So hopefully This bullish momentum continues until that CME closes, and then we just see some nice consolidation and sideways action. That is the best case scenario. But what we've got here right now is some nice movements. So let's take a look for some levels of support and resistance today. What have we got here? Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. We've got 25 likes on today's stream. Many people interested to see what's going on with the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at almost $30,000. It was previously above $30,000. In fact, it may just tick over the edge right now. We're at $29,983 for the price of Bitcoin here. Let's take a look at some levels of support and resistance. Let's draw these on. We are also streaming to TikTok right now, so if you are watching on TikTok, make sure to give us a like as well. What can we see here? First of all, we have a level of support that we can see clearly. We've used this as a level of resistance twice and as a level of support twice. This is all the way down at $25,140 to $24,850. Hopefully, that's not a level that we need to be worrying about right now. Hopefully, we need to be looking at those levels of resistance instead. But let's continue with some supports quickly, and then we'll take a look at the more bullish outlook here. So we've got a level of support here. This is between the $26,600 level to the $26,800 level, being used as a level of support numerous times, so is a fairly strong level there. We also have, if we take a look at these points here, you can see that we've used this point here as a level of support and resistance multiple times. Let's get this perfectly straight. This is the $28,133 level. This has been used as a level of resistance multiple times, and we have actually now seen a confirmation bounce using that level as a level of support. So that's the $28,130 level. I would say that's probably one of the most recent stronger levels of supports that we have on this chart. We also have this diagonal one that is currently at around $27,460. So that's worth keeping an eye on. But that $28,133 level is, in my opinion, one of our most stronger, closer levels of support. In terms of levels of resistance, let's take a look at the more bullish outlook. Let's see what's going on here. In terms of bullish levels of support and resistance, we obviously need to zoom right out for this one. We're talking back in the previous bull market. We had this whole zone here that was used as a level of support between the May high and the November high. Now, I like to look back at this point because this is definitely an important point. This ranges from $28,900, and it goes as, I mean, you could even take it all the way up to here and say $34,650 is important. But let's look at this zone more importantly. I would say this zone here is where we have the crucial levels. You can see back here, we use this as a level of support multiple times on the way up. Then we used it as a level of support multiple times during this pullback. And now we are within that range again, and we are showing that it is a sticky point for Bitcoin. We used it again in this zone here, and we are now within that price range. So let's zoom right out and look at that on the bigger time frames. That is what we are looking at, and that is why we are seeing so much resistance at this time, at this price point. So the range for this zone is the $28,900 level to the $32,000 level, and that is why the $32,000 level is so important. If we break through that $32,000 level, things could really change, and very quickly, because there's a lack of resistance above that point. And as I said, we have that CME gap all the way up at $35,000, acting like a magnet for the Bitcoin price. So this looks pretty messy now, but you can see why we have all of these important levels of support here, and we have this zone of resistance that we are looking at. We can zoom in and look a little bit closer here. I would definitely say that around this point here at $30,700 is a level of resistance, and we've got some other levels that we need to be keeping an eye on. But if we get some positive news about the spot Bitcoin ETF, we all know by now that the price can move very quickly, the same as it could do if we see some negative news. We need to be prepared for that, but things are heating up, things are getting excited. Now, for those of you that have just joined in, let's go back and talk about the spot Bitcoin ETFs before we wrap up today's stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Things are changing in crypto. A spot Bitcoin ETF, fingers crossed, is around the corner. It would change the game. It would change the price of Bitcoin very, very quickly. A report last week suggested that Bitcoin could shoot all the way up to $50,000 to $72,000 if a spot Bitcoin ETF gets accepted, because those companies that issue spot Bitcoin ETFs need to back those ETFs with real Bitcoin. They need to purchase a huge amount of Bitcoin. Now, if all of those issuers put just 1% of their portfolio into Bitcoin and get that exposure to the cryptocurrency space, that massively pushes up the price of Bitcoin. Now, Grayscale are a company that have been really trying to get that spot Bitcoin ETF over the line for years now. They've been in a lawsuit with the SEC. They've won that lawsuit with the SEC. The SEC have not appealed that lawsuit. And now we are just waiting for the courts to decide what the next steps are. Now, today is the deadline for the courts to do so. It may be that we hear this news on Monday because the deadline is midnight tonight. But what we could hear from the courts today is going to change the space. Now, the courts could either A, completely not make any comment about this and just set in stone, yeah, Grayscale won that lawsuit, sort it amongst yourselves, or they could tell the SEC what its next steps are and what we could change here. So big news coming hopefully from the courts. Obviously, if you're in the cryptocurrency space and you want these spot Bitcoin ETFs, the best scenario here would be that the courts do put in place some next steps for the cryptocurrency industry, because that could really bring forward the acceptance of these spot Bitcoin ETFs. We have also seen in the last couple of days Grayscale filing some more applications for a spot Bitcoin ETF, basically a more condensed version, doing anything and providing all of the information to try and get that spot Bitcoin ETF over the line. An ETF really does change the space. I can't express that enough. A lot of people don't think it will have an impact on the price. It means that anybody that has access, a pension, an investment, has easier access to the cryptocurrency industry. In a bull market, we see so much FOMO, but we see so many people being scared away because we don't have the accessibility into this space in a traditional manner. People have to sign up to centralized exchanges, give over their KYC information, their driving license, their passport, to a website that they don't really understand or know if they can trust. But now all they need to do is just purchase a spot Bitcoin ETF as they do any other stock. It is game changing for the cryptocurrency space, and I cannot express this enough. Let's take a look. Somebody on the TikTok chat has said, did you even go to uni? Yes, I did. I've got a maths degree. Thank you very much. Let's see what else is going on here in the live chat today. The Humbled One says, this was the longest and worst bear cycle so far. Ready for some gains now. Now, we all feel that. We all feel the exact same about that. It has been a horrendous bear market. It's gone on for so long now. We all feel like this in a bear market, but we've seen time and time again, those that stick around in the bear market, learn to build, learn to grow, get involved in the industry, are the ones that, fingers crossed, have it pay off the best. Let's see, anyway, the price of Bitcoin before we tune out of today's stream. Currently trading at $29,960. Bitcoin is performing on the Crypto Saving Expert website. It's above $30,000 there. It will change from exchange to exchange, but really positive things coming today. If we do see a spot Bitcoin ETF acceptance, I'll probably do another live stream, because well, whatever day that comes, I'll be jumping on a live stream, because that is going to be an exciting time, and we should stream that price data together. So if you want to stay up to date with what's going on crypto, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you don't miss that exciting live stream. Go over to our Twitter, give us a follow. We've reached over 100,000 followers on Twitter. Notifications on, because changes are coming and you need to be aware of that. And if the news comes out that a spot Bitcoin ETF is around the corner, you want to be involved in watching the Bitcoin price action, because it will be insane. It will be like when Bitcoin broke $20,000 back in 2020. That was such a fun time. And we saw a little bit of a glimpse of that on Monday when Cointelegraph produced that fake news that was an ETF acceptance. And when the real thing comes, we'll have so much excitement in the market. So make sure to stay tuned for that. You want to be knowledgeable when it does occur, and you want to be able to tune into the live stream, because it will be a very fun one. Jason Smith said, solid Friday stream. And PG says, thanks, love the upbeat energy. Have a great weekend, Jess and all. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, thank you for all of the lovely comments in the live chat today. I love it when the live chat's active. It just makes it feel more of a community rather than me just speaking to the camera. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you've not checked out Crypto Saving Expert, make sure to do so. Educate yourself about cryptocurrency this weekend and have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully we see a spot Bitcoin ETF and I'll be on the live chat again. But thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Am I still live?